World of FOMO. The messed up psychology of Blizzard's Legion remix decisions. Oh no, I haven't really gotten into the Legion remix decisions yet, so I'm going to see what they're talking about here. This video is from Taliesin and Evitel, but I will tell you, FOMO's real. It fucked up my whole vacation. Okay, this whole time walking event with getting the Corsair mount, and you got to show up every week and do your time walking runs, and if you miss 2 weeks, well, now you fucked up the event. Well, guess what happened to me? I was gone for 2 weeks on vacation. Now I came back, and unless this thing bugs out like it did early on, I'm going to keep doing runs, and hopefully it bugs out. I've missed out on the mount. I literally, the fear of missing out has I missed out. I literally missed out on a mount because I took a 2-week break from the game, which to me is fucked up, but it is what it is. That's how Blizzard makes the game these days. They want to keep your sub alive, so they do that by pushing FOMO on your ass. Let's see what Taliesin and Evitel have to report on here with Legion Remix being too much FOMO.
This video is sponsored by Squarespace.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and today
should have taken a laptop,
the upcoming Legion Remix. We are talking Blizzard's recent decision that the Mage Tower artifact appearances won't be available as rewards to players in Legion Remix, and we are talking all the fallout from that decision. Players are complaining about FOMO, about prestige, about Blizzard's very weirdly inconsistent approach to currently available achievement rewards, and exactly how they need to change their minds on this to make everyone happy. It's a very specific instance which speaks to a much
Okay, I'll say my opinion on this before they maybe they can change my mind, but I think it was a good decision on Blizzard's part. Like it's, to me, that's not really a FOMO thing. I mean, that was, Mage Tower was available the entire expansion. It was available for the entirety of Legion. Well, I mean, it wasn't the entire, eventually, once it opened up, it was available for a long period of time, is what I mean. Once you were able to open the Mage Tower, which I forgot which patch that happened in during Legion, but once you were able to open it, it was a long period of time that you could just show up to the Mage Tower and get it done. And to me, that creates, it's less of a FOMO issue then. When you create an event like the time walking one where you can only miss 1 week for 6 weeks, like you got a 6-week time span where you got to show up every single week, and if you don't, if you miss more than 1 week, you completely miss out on the item. To me, that's the real FOMO issue. Where here, yeah, if you didn't play the Legion expansion, you're not going to get that item. Okay, fine. It was an achievement item for the Legion expansion. I mean, then people should just hate on Gladiator mounts too, because that's a single season thing. But to me, it's not so much FOMO if it's available for a very long period of time to go get, and you just never showed up to go get it. I think they should make the Mage Tower available and just create a different colorway of the items, because some of them look really cool, and then you can differentiate it that way and create a new colorway and let people go get it that way. But making the old item available, I don't think was necessary. There was so much time to go get it. If you FOMO'd out on that, you just disappeared from the game for a year. That was why.
The issue with World of Warcraft in general, and it has got the player base fuming, absolutely tampin' mush. So join us as we ask, are Blizzard right to keep the Mage Tower appearances off the Legion
I'm gonna try
Remix
Orcmondo to bug it today.
Okay, go. Remix. Back in the winter of 2023, Blizzard released their roadmap for retail WoW for the following year, and while the community
definitely pre-watch this, why? Does he agree with me? I didn't pre-watch it, but if he agrees with me, that's, great minds think alike.
He chatted excitedly about the alpha and the release of the next expansion, The War Within, and speculated wildly about what that cryptic Jolly Roger and 10.2.6 could mean.
Those were good times.
Relatively under the radar was
nobody expected Plunderstorm. That was funny, man.
Time running Pandemonium, later revealed and renamed as Remix Mists of Pandaria, an amped up and overpowered retread of the Mists of Pandaria expansion that, as well as being a chance for players to re-experience the magic of questing and dungeoning and raiding and
I did do Mage Tower, yeah.
In one of WoW's most beloved expansions, was more important.
I did Mage Tower, but I did it like at the very end, like the very tail end of the expansion. So I was not an early Mage Tower person, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you had so much time to do it, so I didn't miss out on it. I just decided to do it at the very end.
Importantly, a leveling and collecting extravaganza, as well as new rewards created for the event. Just about every mount, pet, toy, weapon, and armor set from that expansion was available to flat out buy from vendors for the Remix Bronze currency during Remix. Super rare and sought after items like the Snail Pet, the Dark Shaman set, all of the World Boss mounts, and the Tusks of Manaroth were all on
that was a good
vendors. Personally, I had over 1,000 Garrosh kills over a couple of years of dedicated Tusks farming with no luck at all. Within a couple of weeks of Remix starting, I moseyed on up to a Bronze Dragon shopkeeper with my Mountains of Bronze and walked away the proud owner of every Orc transmog I would ever use ever again. And did it feel as good as if it had dropped in Raid? Probably not, if I'm 100% completely honest, but did I care? Do I look like I care? Look at these awesome badass shoulders, peasants. No, I don't care. Other things you could buy on the Remix vendors, though, were the Siege of Orgrimmar Garrosh heirlooms, items that had not been available in-game since Warlord of Draenor first launched.
Damn.
Items that in modern WoW discourse would be described as FOMO items, as in if you weren't playing the game at the time and if you didn't do what you needed to do to get them at the time, then tough titty noob, there's simply no way that you'd ever be able to get hold of those sweet spiky transmogs
Sucks to be you.
again. Walking around with this bad boy, therefore being a very clear and obvious way of not just identifying an in-game achievement for a player, but also the period of time during which that achievement happened.
Yeah, and
this
that
is also
and that's
what we
cool.
refer to sometimes as
Right, that's cool. That's a cool thing. That's what, like the fact, the literal description that he just gave for this item about you're a badass when you have this axe out because it's a literal achievement you can wear. You were there, you did the thing, and you got the item. That makes that item more badass. It's like it almost goes to like any other mount in the game, like Invincible. I promise you. You guys know I've been trying to get Invincible. I didn't get Invincible through this entire event. It doesn't count as necessarily a FOMO item because you can still attempt to get the item today. But if you give an item to everybody, tomorrow if they said, oh, the pre-order mount for Midnight is Invincible, and now everyone gets Invincible, guess what I'm never going to do? I'm never going to ride Invincible. It's no longer a cool mount. Part of it is that exclusivity of it that makes it cool. Now, again, it doesn't count as a FOMO item because today I could still go try to get Invincible. But if Invincible was only available during Wrath of the Lich King, like a lot of these mythic seasonal mounts are sometimes, or a gladiator mount, it would even be more exciting to have gotten it, for sure. So I think that this is cool. It's an achievement you can wear, no doubt. And this does make this item more badass. If everybody got this item tomorrow, because it became available as a T-Mog on the WoW store, it would lose all of its luster.
This is also what we refer to sometimes as a prestige award, and WoW is full of them. One of the earliest and most obvious being the Scarab Lord title and mount, something that only players who were there in person at the opening of the gates of Anchorage in vanilla can possibly have.
Yeah, and it was
Well,
badass.
maybe when Blizzard accidentally opened a bunch of new servers in Wrath with the gates closed. A few people got their title then, but frankly, that's still impressive to me. A more everyday
Right
example would be the seasonal elite PvP tier set recolors and mounts. Those are attainable in-game for just a few months before becoming something that just sits around in your transmog sets tab, mocking your inability to ever complete it forever. Another famous example would be the Mists of Pandaria challenge mode sets, which Blizzard didn't add to the Remix vendors. That's right, when I said that every transmog from the expansion was available to buy during the event, I wasn't actually being completely honest, because Blizz decided that these transmogs, awarded to players who completed the Mist Challenge Mode dungeons during the original expansion itself, were more special than the Tusks of Manaroth, more special than the legendary cloak appearances, more special than the heirlooms, and would not be made available again. And Blizzard didn't offer any kind of defense or justification of this decision beyond they were only available during the original expansion itself. They won't be available in Remix. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but Tally, the heirlooms and legendary cloak appearances were also only available during the OG expansion. And I bought every single one of those bad boys from a vendor with my piles of filthy bronze. And you're right. In fact, confusingly, in early interviews,
some of this stuff is confusing as to why they're deciding some items are available and others are not. But the challenge mode items kind of go to the same thing as the Mage Tower. I mean, that was something that you could have done for a long time. It was open for a long period of time, and it's a challenge. Like, it's not going to be a challenge in Remix. So to give that armor, people, and they just going to walk through it, okay, fine, give the armor. I think they should do it just to recolor. Those are cool armor sets. They have cool aesthetics. Give a recolor of it. That's fine. If they don't want to give away the actual armor set the way it is, because it's not going to be a challenge in Remix. We all know that.
Had originally said that heirlooms would, like the challenge mode sets, specifically not be available in Remix.
We have a recolor already.
They
We
obviously
do.
went back on, but the challenge sets remain something they clearly felt play.
Yeah, we got all these sets in. When did we get these in recolors? I know there are recolors out there of them, because I've seen the Death Knight one. But when did we got the green? Like, there's a green variation of this Death Knight one. Did it come back in Legion? Is that when we saw these show up again? I don't remember. They need to figure out where the arbitrary line is for this kind of stuff. I'm tired of hearing people whine about it. That's the thing. Like, yeah, if we understood the reasoning more, maybe then people wouldn't be bitching about it all the time. But yeah, people are complaining because it doesn't make sense. Some limited time items are available, some other ones aren't.
Should not be able to ever enjoy again. Inconsistent?
It's not all of them? Oh,
Put a
okay.
pin in those
I know the
questions for just
Death
a
Knight one
second,
is.
because with that little history lesson in mind, let's take a look at Legion Remix. Artifacts. Remix Mists of Pandaria was overall a massive success. A huge amount of players had a huge amount of fun and got a huge amount of cool stuff. And honestly, when it comes to WoW, that's all of us really want, right? Added to the fact that its appearance in the latter half of Dragonflight Season 4 went a long way towards relieving that traditional end of expansion content drought, it seemed pretty certain that Blizz would repeat the trick in the War Within. And sure enough, the 2025 roadmap featured an intriguing green glow towards the end of the year, which
Exciting.
Ian Hazakostis very quickly all but confirmed
You are not
was
prepared.
Remix Legion. Legion being largely regarded as probably the best WoW expansion of all time. It's definitely top 3 and would seem to be ideally suited to the Remix formula, mostly because it has absolutely loads of very specific and awkward to get collectibles, which players will relish.
And all of, it's got Mythic Plus already. It's got all these systems already integrated into it. So yeah, it's an easy Remix expansion.
All being on a vendor with a bronze price. Like, for example, the Class Hall mounts. Have
Top
you
2
bothered
and
to
it's not
complete
2.
3 patches worth of Class Order Hall campaign quests on every single Legion class to get every single one of these class-specific mounts? Well, I have, obviously, because I did it at the time. Because, like I say, I loved Legion. But honestly, if I hadn't done it at the time, doing it now would seem like a massive pain in the ass. And no, I probably wouldn't bother. Have you unlocked every artifact on every class and completed the Suramar campaign and the Balance of Power and also got the PvP appearance and also the secret appearance and then also the Mage Tower appearance and then also done all the different things?
I loved artifact weapons. I did. I thought artifact weapons were cool. I think a lot of people did. Just collecting all the appearances. I remember sometimes I get an appearance by accident. I wouldn't even know how to unlock. I was like, oh shit, I just unlocked a new appearance. Go back to your order hall, go check out how it looks, the colors, figure out a new T-Mog that matches it. These were good times.
On top of that, to unlock all of the different color variants of each one. Well, don't bother now, because when Legion Remix rolls around, you'll almost certainly be able to go shopping to your local Bronze Dragon vendor, hand over some currency, and just have
Get 'em all.
And that's nice, isn't it? That's what Remix is all about. Except that is for the aforementioned Mage Tower appearances. And this is where the controversy lies. The Mage Tower. I don't think I'm being controversial when I say that Legion was an absolute banger of an expansion, and the Mage Tower was one of the undoubted highlights of it. Introduced in the otherwise crushingly lackluster 7.2 patch, yeah, I know I just said Legion was a banger, but trust me, you kind of had to be there. It promised players non-scaling, mythic boss-level challenges individually tailored to their spec with the ultimate reward at the end, a new, unique class artifact appearance with
Man, Blizzard really freaking created so much content for Legion. This Mage Tower was created for every single spec. They had to redo the Mage Tower, not to mention they had to do all these quest lines for all the specs. There was so much that they had to do on repeat in this expansion and create a different, and there's so many versions of Legion that a lot of people never experienced because every single spec had a different experience. It's crazy the amount of content they created for this expansion.
Lockable recolors.
That's why they stopped on WoD early.
What an absolute baller you were, and B, were incredibly cool. In some cases, otherwise completely uniquely cool. When Mage Tower launched, the Protection Warrior and Paladin appearances were quite literally the only functioning flail models in the entire game, and were until late Shadowlands, or actually, because that one did kind of suck, Dragonflight.
Yeah, it did suck.
Likewise, the Werebear was a whole new upright bear form, completely different conceptually from any other in the
Badass.
game. The Disco Cat is quite simply the sparkliest feral have ever been able to make themselves before or since. This was good stuff, but there was a catch, made clear from the start. These appearances were only
Limited time.
available during the Legion expansion itself,
Yep.
when the Mage Tower was current content. These rewards, and actually the Mage Tower itself, would disappear for good at the start of the Battle for Azeroth pre-patch, making Mage Tower the very definition of FOMO or prestige content, depending on your point of view. This content was so temporary that you couldn't even play the challenges again after you'd completed them. Like, if you really enjoyed the Discipline Challenge and wanted to replay it just for fun, literally, tough titty moron, why would you be able to do that? You've already had your fun and got your staff, what more do you want in a video game? Of course, since these challenges didn't scale, by the time the end of 7.3 rolled around, the fights were a lot more manageable than at least.
I did it later in the expansion. I'll fully admit that. I waited until I'd kind of, you never really outgeared Mage Tower, but you got enough gear that it became easier, for sure. And that's when I got it done.
Launch, and that mad rush to complete all of the challenges for the specs and appearances that you wanted worked for many, including me, to completely eradicate any sense of content drought at the end of Legion. There was no drought for me, I was bopping those things. I got
same.
my warrior and paladin flails, I got my disco cat and werebear, I got my Xalatath glow up, because of course I did, because I would do anything for her, seriously anything.
Badass.
I got my discipline staff, and then cried myself through 10 pug battleground victories to unlock the hot pink recolor, something I'm still incredibly proud of. I got my lightning ashbringer and my weird paper lantern brewmaster staff and my bony blood DK axe and way more besides. By the time Teldrassil went up, there was only a handful of appearances that I hadn't managed to get, or rather wasn't too fussed about getting. When the Mage Tower was brought back by popular demand in Shadowlands, those weapon appearances were not included. Instead, players could win fun recolors of the Tomb of Sargeras sets and a legit, very cool flying book mount for completing all of the different challenges, which was fine. It was awesome that the challenges themselves were enjoyable again to everyone, but the rewards were a definite downgrade. There is, quite simply, no better and more tantalizing reward in the entire game, worldofwarcraft.com, than a spec-specific, unique weapon appearance. And that is just a fact. Seriously, I will do any old bullshit content you like, Ian. You put a unique spec-specific weapon appearance at the end of it, I will gulp that shit down and then thank you for it.
Yeah, DK did have really cool stuff, so did Demon Hunter. Yeah, the thing is, when I say I completed Mage Tower, it wasn't on my Death Knight. I only play Death Knight now, but that became a thing in BFA. I started playing Death Knight in Legion, but back then my main was still my mage. And it was, so that's what I completed it on. So I don't have the Death Knight axe, I don't. And I'm still okay with not being able to get it. I understand. I do. Like, well, you know, I had a long time to get it. If I wanted to do a Death Knight run at that time, I could have done it, and I didn't. I got T-Mog, a lot of T-Mog for my Death Knight during the expansion, but he was not my main at the time, so I never did Mage Tower on him.
Afterwards, okay? So naturally, when Legion Remix became a future reality, the #1 request from basically everyone was, please make these things available again during the event. And
I played Legion when I was born.
That's not gonna happen, no. Many times throughout the history of World of Warcraft, there have been items, titles, and other kinds of rewards that belong in a category of the most prestigious and historic accomplishments. Rewards that we believe should be preserved in a historical context for only those players who earned them at the time. As we've explored the full list of all rewards that players could earn when Legion was current content, we've determined that some fit the description above and will not be obtainable in Legion Remix. Artifact weapon appearances from PvP, seasonal PvP gear, Mage Tower artifact appearances. And you know, that was a shit show, obviously. Dead on arrival. No reason to play then. Blizzard farming elves. Literally garbage company. Imagine keep pushing for FOMO, literally.
Look, I mean, look, Blizzard can't win, I'll be honest. Like, had they made the Mage Tower appearances available, these comments would have came from the other side. People would have been like, Blizzard's a bunch of liars. They said this was a limited time event. Blizzard made us do this content. They made it available later. Great job, Blizzard. You just made this armor completely useless. It's no longer cool. Everyone's going to have this limited time event now. Limited time? Yeah, right. Not really limited. The only thing limited is your PP size. That's what they're going to... That's the kind of comments Blizzard would have seen. That's like either way, no matter which decision they made on this, they would have gotten, the forums would have gotten blown up with hate. I don't doubt it.
So dumb. Cool, man. The only achievement you have with these is being old. Dinosaur-aged person. I'm not adding to your metrics by playing this worthless trash. Us players need to friggin' riot and be as loud as possible. This isn't preservation,
God.
it's gatekeeping. It's the same toxic, elitist mindset we see in the real world. The 1% hoarding wealth and opportunity while telling everyone else to work harder or be grateful for scraps. The devs already had their shot at earning these rewards when the content was live, and I bet they can get the appearances just for working there. Why shouldn't newer or returning players have a fair chance to prove themselves now? Yeah,
This
fair to
guy's
say
angry.
people are disappointed. But should they be? Are Blizzard's reasons for keeping those appearances walled off proper? Do
I
they
think so.
genuinely preserve something in the game, or is this just a wildly obstinate and inconsistent stance that they're taking? The easiest part of
I agree, Uncle Jemima. The silent majority is always there. They're silent. So it seems like everybody's angry, but I don't think everyone's angry.
that question to answer is probably the last bit, because yes, objectively, it is inconsistent. If we really are preserving rewards in a historical context for players who earned them at the time, then it makes sense that the Mage Tower artifacts do remain locked off, just like the ahead-of-the-curve Warwolf from Mists of Pandaria. This was rewarded for completing the raid on heroic difficulty while it was current content, and became unavailable after that. As such, it was one of the few items from that expansion not available to players in Mists of Pandaria Remix, alongside the challenge mode sets. Sounds good, makes sense. But then why is the Violet Spellwing being made available in Legion Remix? This is also an ahead-of-the-curve mount for completing the Antorus raid before the release of patch 8.0. Actually, the exact same cutoff as the Mage Tower appearances. So why aren't we preserving that historical context for players who earned them at the time? Come on, Blizz, heroic ahead-of-the-curve mounts are pretty much all I've got. Don't dick me on the heroic ahead-of-the-curve mounts. And yeah, okay, so Heroic was the highest possible level of play in Pandaria raiding, and it's not in Legion since Mythic difficulty became a thing. So technically, these mounts don't represent the same challenge or level of play, even though the achievement has the same name. But it still just feels odd. Another inconsistency, Blizzard have made the Mage Tower Werebear available again. Ever since the Mage Tower 2.0 was introduced in Shadowlands, defeating Cruel on your Guardian Druid will award you the Fell Werebear appearance. And okay, so it's a different color to the OG Mage Tower bears, but I'm gonna let
That's it. I mean, you make it a different color. I think that's okay. I totally don't see a problem with them doing it again, but just different color. Okay, you like the look of this thing? That's good. You'll get this color version of it. You can't go back and get the original because that was limited time. And by limited, we mean freaking almost the whole damn expansion. It's 7.2 that thing hit. So, I mean, it was a long time that you had a chance to get it. But maybe you missed it. Okay, here's your chance to get a different color version of it.
you into a little secret here, Blizz, okay? No one gives a shit about the colors. Actually, I do really like the hot pink disc stuff. Okay, the colors aren't people's main concern when it comes to the artifact appearances. The thing that makes the werebear special is the fact it's a werebear. And before this green glowy boy, the other werebear models in the game were disappeared with Mage Tower 1.0. Likewise, the Paladin and Warrior flails. So yes, in my opinion, it is inconsistent the way Blizz are enacting their philosophy here. A more prickly problem, though, is whether their philosophy is a good one in the first place. I have some pretty strong views on this, some of which I think are going to surprise you. But first, Evie wants to tell you something.
Hey team,
I'm fine with
Gamescom is quickly approaching, and that means two things. One, finally getting to meet some of our long-term viewers in person, and two, having to spell our names to any new people we meet. Thankfully, Squarespace has my back here by hosting our website and our easy-to-remember domain at
Vanilla
tne.tv,
Remix.
and for sponsoring this video. Thanks, guys. In addition to having tne.tv, we've also had Taliesin and Evitel.com parked for ages, mostly to keep weirdos from doing weird things with it. And do you know where we got that domain
They
from?
would
You
do
guessed
weird
it,
things.
Squarespace. This is the future. You can buy and manage domains, or TLDs as they're known in the biz.
It would be used for
directly
porn, we
through
all know it.
Squarespace. It's convenient, often pretty cheap, and comes with loads of protections built in. Now, while I am a Squarespace enthusiast and expert of sorts, I still have some gaps in my knowledge, namely around URLs or TLDs or whatever they're called. Thankfully, the Squarespace Help Center has the answer to all of your burning questions, and I found the solution to mine pretty quickly. Putting my new knowledge into practice was also a breeze, thanks to how simple domain management is. I mean, there's literally just a big button that says connect existing website, and after a couple of confirmations, my old URL/ www.blizzard.com/tld/whatever and my shiny existing website are now linked. Easy. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking about the maximum number of domains that can be linked to a single website. Me too. Head to squarespace.com/taliesinevitell where you can find out and where you can get 10% off your first purchase of a Squarespace website or domain. That's squarespace.com/taliesinevitell. The answer is unlimited. Do with that what you will.
Oh, wow.
I know I will.
Prestige versus FOMO. First up, I'm going to say something that I think most of you aren't going to like. As a general concept, I think that in a long-running multiplayer perpetual game world like WoW, there is a value in rewards and items, titles, mounts, whatever, that are available for only a limited time and which are recognizable, not just for an achievement in-game, but also for the time frame that achievement comes from.
Yes, I agree. I said it earlier. That axe is cool because it's a limited time thing. When you see somebody with it, or you see somebody with the Scarab Lord title, you know, if you know anything about the game, you know where they got it from. You know they were playing at that time, and it's limited. That's what makes it cool. If you could all go purchase the Scarab Lord title off of the WoW store right now, guess what? Nobody would be freaking using the Scarab Lord title because it wouldn't be cool anymore. That's what makes this cool. And limited time items for a game that's been around for 20 plus years now, I think is brings value to the game. I do. I think it's a cool thing, and I like it. I even though I don't have it, I like to see it. I think it's cool.
That's that most obvious example. I think the Scarab Lord title is cool. I think.
Why don't you have something like that? Because when I was playing vanilla WoW back then, I started playing 2005, maybe late 2004. I wasn't cap level for one, and I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I probably wasn't even aware this event was going on. I had no idea what was going on in the game. So I just used to run around and play and have fun and kill spiders in the forest and all that shit. And I never got the title. But guess what? I don't hate people who got the title, and I don't think the title should be made available again. I think it's cool for the people who actually got it.
Meaningful, and clearly
just tell us you're a bad player.
It's not unusual to see people start whole Reddit threads when they see a Scarab Lord out in the wild in retail because it's an unusual and exciting thing to happen. Not to the person who has the title, importantly, but to the player that saw them in game. I think World of Warcraft would be a poorer, less interesting game without the Scarab Lord title being something that you just can't get anymore.
Agreed.
So by definition, I disagree with the common take of all things should be available to all players without any time limits. And I actually feel pretty similarly about other things that follow the same concept. I think ahead of the curve and
Cam Shady, most people that have the Scarab Lord title and the Black Karaji Battle Tank don't play anymore. That's true. That's true. That makes it even more rare. And that is why it is so badass when you actually see it. You know, this guy has been playing for 20 years. And he was badass 20 years ago. That's cool.
Cutting edge mounts are pretty cool, and I think that the time-limited nature of them can really increase the enjoyment
you were there.
Of players in
that's
getting
crazy.
them. A great example of that is the Moose mount that was a reward for getting ahead of the curve Archimond at the end of Warlords of Draenor,
I
and the
remember
friendship Moose movement that started because of it, where whole communities were formed around helping players that wouldn't usually be able to get ahead of the curve bag that beautiful horny chap.
I saw these horny. I saw this all over the place. Back if you were playing at this time, there were so many in the queue system. Like, this was literally the thing that everybody was doing by then. At the end of the expansion, that was all I saw was Moose Run, Community Moose Run, all over the queuing system. And it actually kept the game alive. It felt like, okay, there's still a community here for a little while.
Communities that wouldn't have formed if the Moose mount was just a standard heroic mount that everyone knew they could come and loot solo a couple of expansions down the line. And I think communities and the feeling of accomplishment that you get from tackling aspirational content are good things. I would even go as far as to say that they are fundamental parts of the game, and time-limited rewards are really good at inspiring people into content and ways of playing the game that they otherwise wouldn't engage with. A great example, PvP, the War River Beast reward in Season 1 of BFA just really spoke to me for some unknown reason, and so I did a whole season of 3s with my buddies to get my first ever Vicious mount. I had an unexpectedly brilliant time, and I got the most perfect round roly-poly bouncy boy to show for my efforts, which beyond that PvP season was completely unavailable again for a good 2 expansions and made me feel very special indeed. Likewise, the Brutosaur Gold Sync mount. I didn't really care about that until Blizzard decided decided it would become unavailable after the expansion, and then I wanted it more than anything in the entire world.
Yeah.
So I got really into gold making and had fun and felt very proud of myself when I spent, sorry, I still feel a little bit sick saying it, 5 million gold on it. So yeah, no shit. I feel good when I have a reward that isn't available anymore. But
yeah, and like why I said about the recolor thing is, okay, like a couple of years later, they had a $90 store mount that it was essentially the same thing, had a bit different in terms of the vendors, but you had a $90 Long Boy store mount and a black color variation. Right now, that's fine. You can do that. It doesn't devalue the green one, because the green one is still recognized as this guy grinded the fuck out in BFA and bought the mount, and it was limited time, and he's got it and you don't. And that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. Make it available again in a different color variation so people can get it who actually want it for the utility purposes, but the bragging rights still belong to the people who have the green one.
like those excited Reddit posters sharing their screenshots of a real-life Scarab Lord hanging out in Dornagor, I think it's cool when I just see someone with them too. My first ever experience realizing that there was stuff in WoW that I would never be able to get was when I saw a Warlock in town one day wearing the Horns of the Betrayer, the absolute most baller helm any Warlock could ever possibly own, and which looked so cool, I literally stopped what I was doing and opened Wowhead to learn where I could get such a mean-ass hat, only to discover that it was part of that Miss of Pandaria challenge mode set that I would never be able to get for myself, ever. I was gutted, obviously, but I do also remember feeling that it was kind of pretty cool too, honestly. And then I dressed my Warlock in the Blackrock Foundry set instead, which is equally baller anyway. So from these last few minutes of me yapping, you might well have come to the conclusion that I am completely in favor of items being what we would term FOMO, and only being available for players that were lucky enough to be playing at the time they were available and motivated and skilled enough to get them. And you're right, that's exactly how I feel. For items that I don't have, and this is so weird and kind of the exact inverse of what you'd expect, and I know it's not rational, but I'm sharing it with you here because it's genuinely how I feel, and I'm sure that at least some of you will feel the same way and maybe be able to explain what on earth is going on psychologically here. But that position I have of championing items becoming unavailable and cool recognized symbols of past achievements, that only applies to stuff that I don't have. Like that cool Warlock hat, I don't have it. So it's cool and good that it's not available anymore. That's neat. The Scarab Lord title, I don't have.
He's kind of right though. I don't mind people getting the stuff I have. I don't. Personally, I don't think I have any really fucking cool items like this. I have to think about it. In terms of transmog, maybe I have a couple items back from Vanilla WoW that I played. I talked about the parrot not too long ago from Dead Mines. I think there's a different version of the parrot now available. I don't know. But basically, I don't have anything that I wouldn't mind somebody else having. I did have some achievement mounts for sure, some other things, but that you can't get anymore. But what I find really cool, like he's saying here, is the stuff that I know I can't get. And when I see somebody else with it, I'm like, that's badass. I don't think I want that. I just think, damn, that's badass. That's badass that they got that.
Have that. So I am totally in favor.
Sam, no one wants your bald spot. I know, but it's a genetic thing, and some people will get it, unfortunately. Sam, how can't you earn the Mage Tower weapons in the upcoming Legion remix? You can't. It's kind of trash how you can't earn the MOP challenge mode set from MOP remix. But this whole video and what I'm saying before this video even started is I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with there being items that were available for a certain time period in this 20-year game, and the people who got them, and the people who didn't can't. That's all right with me.
Of it never becoming available again. Every single elite PvP set in the history of the game, sets that are like the tier set that I have, but oftentimes in a much cooler color, well, I don't have them, so yeah, great. I totally think they should stay unavailable so the people that do have them can feel baller. But the weird thing is, this unpopular stance does not apply to items I do have. So all of those ahead of the curve mounts I have, including the Violet Spellwing, make them available to everybody. Who cares? My Brutosaur? Give it away with breakfast cereal if it will make people happy. I don't mind. The Mage Tower artifact appearances? Bring those bad boys back in Legion Remix. Obviously, no-brainer. I've had 7 years to enjoy those and feel special. It's time to let everyone buy them from a friendly dragon. When it's stuff I personally have, I am 100% in the camp of all stuff that I have should be available to anyone that isn't me at all times. And what's crazy about that is that, yes, in this case, it puts me firmly in the camp of people that think all the Mage Tower weapons should be available in Remix. But also, I'm fully aware that if I hadn't got them all first time round, if I was sitting here now without any of those appearances, I might well be arguing in this video that we shouldn't be able to get them again. And actually, Blizzard were absolutely right.
I get it.
I accept my brain is probably broken and I need help. So, I don't know, please send me money. That'll probably help. As with all things, I think there is a balance to be struck between having the odd item here and there, which does retain meaning by not being available anymore, and the flip side of giving players the fun of getting all the stuff ever, because getting stuff is fun. Just look at how popular the Collector's Bounty buff was this month. People love getting stuff, and they would overwhelmingly love getting Mage Tower artifacts. So, as someone who will always tend to favor the option that will make people more happy to play the game, that's the side I'm always going to come down on here too. Of course, there's also, in my opinion, an extremely obvious answer to this mess that would keep 99% of all players happy that I alluded to much earlier when we talked about the werebear. Just bring back recolors of the Mage Tower weapons.
Yeah, that's exactly. Stoic, maybe a slightly different tint. Yeah, I've said that since the beginning of the video. Just make it available in a different color. That's it. Make it available in a different color. It keeps the prestige of the old item and allows people to get the item who never had a chance to get it.
Like I say, it's the models that most people covet more than the color schemes. Just give us a new shade or two of Disco Cat for Remix. Give us a new hue of Paper Lantern. Give us another werebear. Give us 200 new color variants of Xalatath because she's worth it. Not only would that be a way for players who weren't around in Legion to get all those appearances without breaking Blizzard's stated philosophy, but it would be better for players who do have the appearances like me, since there's now a reason to go out and have fun getting them all over again, because these new ones are variants that I don't have. I wonder how long it's going to take me to get this video finished, honestly, because there's a part of me that fully expects Blizzard to go down this path, and it would be pretty typical if they announced it just as I was doing the edit, or more likely, about an hour after I released the video. But what do you think? Is the game better for having items that players can't get anymore, or should everything always be available for everyone forever? And also, does anyone else share my weird psychological mess of being in favor of keeping items exclusive only when I don't personally have them? I want to hear all your opinions in the comments below, but especially if you share that one, because now I've said it out loud, I do feel a little bit insane actually. But whatever your view, thank you.
It's got to be some psychological reason behind
it. Don't thank us, thank our patrons who give us their actual real life money to make all of our work happen. And patrons, seriously, sincerely, thank you, because without you, there would be a whole lot less Taliesin and Evertel. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Sean. No, my name is Taliesin from me and Evertel too. Until next time, cheerio.
I say it all the time. I'll never forget when he said my name is Samiccus. That was great. Great video. I totally agree with a lot of this stuff. My main problem with FOMO is the issue with the time walking shit that I just talked about now, where I missed 2 weeks and it completely fucked everything up for me, and now I can't get them out anymore. Whatever. Even though I'm playing the game consistently right now, I still can't get it. And then the other side of it is, okay, prestige items. I believe there should be prestige items. I do. But I'm okay with a recolor variant coming back so people can get the silhouette of the item that they really desire, but maybe that prestigious, colorway is still kept prestigious. A nice video from Taliesin.